There is a kind of grief that nobody talks about. Not the grief of losing something real, but the grief of a life that never showed up. The career that was supposed to happen by now. The relationship. The version of yourself you were sure you'd become. Nothing was taken from you. Nobody died. And yet, something in you is quietly grieving. Psychologists call this the anticipated life script. At some point, probably in your 20s, you made a quiet plan for how things would go. By this age, this. By now, this. That plan was built from everything around you. What you saw growing up, what other people seemed to have, and the assumptions you made without ever stopping to question them. And then, somewhere along the way, the plan and your actual life stopped matching. Here's the part nobody tells you. The life you're grieving never actually existed. Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking. It's when your brain builds a vivid, detailed picture of the life that could have been and holds it up next to the one you're actually living. And that comparison is almost never fair. Because the imagined life never has to be tested. It never has to get through a hard week, or a difficult year, or the slow realization that even the best version of what you wanted would have had its own problems. Grieving something that never existed doesn't make the pain any less real. You don't feel this grief when things are going badly. You feel it when things are fine. At a friend's wedding, on a quiet evening when nothing has gone wrong, but you sit there and think, I thought I'd feel different by now. That's your plan bumping into your actual life, and the gap between them suddenly feeling very real. But here's what actually helps. That plan was made by a much younger version of you, one who didn't yet know what they really needed, what they actually cared about, or what would make them feel like themselves. Studies on happiness show that the future we imagine in our 20s is almost always wrong. Not because we're foolish, but because we didn't yet have the things that only living can teach us. The gap between the life you expected and the life you have isn't always a sign that something went wrong. Sometimes, it's a sign that you grew. You're not late. You're just living a life you couldn't have seen coming. And that is not the same as a life that failed. If this names something you've been carrying, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe. There are more patterns like this one.